1949, after he had been rallying to desegregate local restaurants like the Alcove Bar, running protests against the Detroit Tigers at Briggs Stadium because they wouldn't hire a black player and were one of the few teams and organizations in the league that wouldn't hire black players still, even in 1948 and 1949. And this is in the spring of '49. He was called in during his senior year by Dean Arthur Neef of Wayne State Law School to have a little conversation with the young upcoming law grad.
Huh. I didn't know he knew I was even in school.
Top of the page on the right.
On the right, yeah. By the spring of 1949, my final semester in law school, my life's vision was mainly in place. I wanted to make a difference as a lawyer. Right before classes began, the dean of the law school, Arthur Neef, called me in for a visit. I walked into his second floor office and sat in the chair directly across from his desk. As I looked around, I saw all the diplomas, the frames, and the stuff you would expect to see in a dean's office. His window overlooked Cass Street and the public library. I had no idea why he invited me in, but I figured it had to be bad news. I didn't even know he knew I was enrolled, let alone worth a personal meeting. When he spoke, he was cordial and kind. I remember as clear as day that he never looked me in the eye. He looked downward the whole time as if looking for a pen under his desk. He told me, "Dean, I've been watching you, and there's no question you are a talented young man and well-liked. You've organized the young progressives in the law school, and you're probably more popular than I am. But there's no future in law for radicals. You have to get along with the power structure. I know you're not a communist, but you're cheating them out of their dues, membership dues. You know that in the Soviet Union and the Politburo, they're all Russians. They don't believe in integration." At this point, I paused, knowing nothing about the Soviet Union and having no idea what he was talking about. He droned on for a while on the topic, but my mind wandered. This is just a friendly meeting to tell you that I want you to succeed, but in order to do so, you must change directions. There is no future for you in law if you continue with these radical causes. I'm for integration too, but these things take time. We must be patient. We can't hurry change. As I walked out, I thanked him for this unsolicited advice. I shut the door, thoughtful about what he had said, considering whether or not he was right. That night I got a call from Mom. She said, in her quiet, modest tone, "Dean, are you in trouble?" I said, "No," wondering if Dean Neef had called her too. "Why?" She's sounding pretty concerned. She said, "Well, there were some men who stopped by earlier and they were asking all kinds of questions about you. Then I talked to some of the neighbors, the men who had visited them and wanted to know about you. What, are you sure you're not in trouble?" To this question, I may have lied to my mother. "No, Mom, I'm not in trouble." But I wasn't so sure about that. I said, "What were they asking about?" She told me they wanted to know what your school activities were. They asked if you were a troublemaker. They asked about your politics. Well, I told them you were a good boy who almost always went to church, but they didn't act like they believed me. "What's going on, Dean?" "Nothing, Mom. I'm fine. Get some rest, okay?" "All right, Dean. Just call me if you're in trouble." "I will, Mom." Can you imagine J. Edgar Hoover sending some agents to